Hi all, welcome back to the channel. It's Nick here, and today I'm doing a video just talking you through the reservation, the purchase process, and basically what happens after you choose to commit to a property investment with Verta Property Group. And this process is pretty typical with most off-plan investment agencies across the UK. So let's get it started. And there's a series of steps involved. So obviously you're gonna do your research, your due diligence, speak to your investment consultant, maybe speak to people within your network and get some advice and choose your final property. And once you've nailed down that particular apartment that you want to purchase, we will then go through a series of steps with various parties involved to enable you to become the legal owner of that property. So step one, speak to your consultant and choose an apartment that you wish to proceed with. Agree the terms, whether that involves negotiations or is securing extra incentives, which we can certainly help with on your behalf. But once you've nailed a exact unit, then basically advise your consultant when you want to go ahead. Then the first stage would be a reservation agreement, which dictates the terms of you securing your apartment and ultimately taking it off the market so other people can't purchase it. This will have some basic terms and conditions involved, which will explain how your fee is handled, what the refundable conditions or terms and conditions are, and basically what's going to happen, as well as the details of yourself, your solicitor, the development, the selling party, etc, etc. So it's normally a basic 2-page, sometimes 4-page document, and you'll be expected to sign that as the purchaser of the property. In and around the same time, you'll be expected to pay a reservation fee, otherwise known as a booking fee. So this can range from anything from around £1,000 up to typically £5,000. Most are £5,000. So you'll sign the reservation agreement, you'll pay your booking fee or reservation fee. Now that can be paid to the agency that you're dealing with in their dedicated client account, or that can be sometimes paid to the developer directly, and sometimes it can even be paid to a third party which may be handling the sales and administration process for the developer. But this should all be put in writing. It should be nice and clear. It should be verifiable information so you know who the reservation fee is going to and who's responsible for that. And also it's worth asking, bonus tip here, what actually happens to the reservation fee when it's paid to your agency or to the sales administrator that's involved? Is that passed direct to the developer, or where does that capital go? So you pay your reservation fee, you sign your reservation agreement. The next stage is to provide your anti-money laundering documents. As you may know, it is a legal requirement for agencies to be registered with HMRC in the UK for anti-money laundering obligations, basically, to ensure that we follow certain operational practice and we're able to, well, the purpose behind it is to fundamentally for the teams or consultants or agencies to be able to identify red flags. In other words, go through training, go through worst case scenarios where they're able to identify if there's any issues that have been raised, i.e., can I pay this in cash? And the funds are coming from this account. And then we have to get ID, proof of address dated within the last 3 months to verify you are who you say you are. Now, that's typically it as a minimum legal requirement. What we do at Verta Property Group is we actually take the documentation, we run it through an online software, and we actually check for additional flags. You know, it does happen, guys. There is cases where people get flagged up as PEPs, which is politically exposed parties who may be open to, you know, bribes and it's just you basically got to handle them cases more sensitively and ensure you're conducting the correct checks. We'll look at the electoral roll, verify addresses, look at if there's been any fraudulent criminal activity associated with your name, etc, etc. Basically, we'll put it through the software. They run the checks and they come back and say, this is all good, pass, or this is a fail, it requires further explanation. And at that stage, you might ask for additional source of or proof of funds or source of funds, or ask for another ID document or a more updated proof of address, things like that. It's very normal, and we're basically protecting ourselves from any parties that we don't want investing or don't want buying property. So once that's done, that information will be required to go over to the sales progression department in our company. This can vary depending on who's actually handling it, but for us it will go over to our team, who will then be in touch with the vendor, so typically the developers, the solicitors on both sides, and yourself, just providing an introduction and saying, look, this is who we are, this is my part or my role in the process, and these are the next steps. So then you'll have a dedicated person, your point of contact, to guide you through the legal purchase process and get you to the finished result, basically. So what will happen then is the solicitors will be contacted. The solicitors will then write to you directly and say, we've been advised you're looking to purchase this property. Here are our fees. Do you want to instruct us, yes or no? If you do, you then go through the relevant process, which would require the solicitor to do their anti-money laundering checks. Then they'll request the legal fees from you to act as your conveyancer, so your independent legal advisor effectively, to take you through that purchase process. Once that's signed off, that will go over to the developer, and basically the contract process will start, which involves basically both parties raising inquiries and looking at the contracts for the purchase and ensuring everyone's happy with the legal terms and conditions. At this stage, there is typically a lot of back and forth to make sure everyone's happy and they understand everything. But once that's all done, we'll reach the exchange of contracts stage, which is basically when you become the legal owner of the property. At that stage, you'll be required by your solicitor to pay the deposit funds, and that might be 10%, 20%, 30%, depending on the structure of the project. We work on a lot of 10% deposit levels because it's more beneficial to investors. And then once that's done, the funds are transferred, exchange of contracts will take place, and then you'll become the legal owner of that property. Now, in most cases from that point onwards, you can sell, because you will be the legal owner, if you have a assignability clause in your contracts, if it's an off-plan purchase, okay? And then we'll wait during the construction period. Our team will keep you posted with updates, what's happening with the development, how's the developer getting on, what's the estimated time frame till completion. If there's any more staged payments involved, we'll advise you of that as well, and basically be there as a point of contact to guide you through till physical handover of the property. When we get to that stage, just before, we'll ask questions around your mortgage or finance. Do you need to arrange that? Do you need to have surveyors visit the site? How are you furnishing the property? Do you need a furniture pack? Is there a management company in place? Would you like us to help with that? And our job is to basically make sure that we connect all the dots, all the parties, and make it a seamless process, so it's a completely stress-free and hands-off experience for you, and basically get you to the stage where you're generating the income into your own bank account, okay? So that's typically what happens. On completion, you'll have the keys handed over to the management company. They'll rent it out for you and you can collect the income from that stage. So that's the gist of it, guys. I think I've covered most things there. Obviously, there are some extra steps which would take place either prior to reservation or during the legal purchase process. That can be things like you getting tax advice, you setting up a company, etc., etc. There are extra steps, and we advise you to seek the relevant professional help to do that. And we can certainly introduce you to tax advisors, accountants, etc., etc. Also, foreign exchange is another one if you need to help moving capital around the globe. Now, the legal purchase process, what I described there, from the point of reservation through to the point of exchange of contracts, we aim for around a 28-day period. That's what it would state on the reservation agreement, and that's what all parties work towards. In reality, look, it can take longer than that depending on the level of inquiries that are raised, and also the speed of parties, to be honest. How efficient is everyone? How quickly did they return their documents? How quickly did they respond to emails or calls, etc., etc. But you should know, as an investor, from the point of reservation through to the exchange of contracts, you want to be aiming for around that 4-week period. So you need to ensure your deposit funds will be liquid and available at that stage. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a rundown, guys. That's pretty typical for most agencies and off-plan purchases. If you do want any more information on this, or you do want to understand a bit more, just let us know. You can drop me an email, nick.hyland@vertapropertygroup.co.uk. My contact details will be in the description below, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Cheers.